Hey everyone, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast. In this episode today, we're going to be talking about the 5 keys to building a 7-figure brand on Amazon in 2022. You're going to find out multiple great products ideas using an urban mining hack, a key to 10xing your Amazon sales, and why it's so important not to marry your products. So, welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e commerce podcast.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with
Oh, it feels so great not to be coughing every second, but I'm almost there. I'm almost there. So if I do cough in anybody's ear, I am still so sorry for it. I'm trying to hit the mute button, but I'm feeling much better today. So let's get started. Today, we're going to be talking about the 5 keys to build a 7-figure brand on your Amazon business in 2022. Our guest is the co-founder of Voltage Digital Marketing. He has been launching, operating, and growing private label e-commerce businesses for the last 9 years. As of today, his clients have sold over 100 million plus in physical products, primarily through the Amazon FBA sales channel. And I will be talking to Neil Twa very shortly. All right, now, before we get to that, let's get to a word from our sponsor. A big thank you to our sponsor, Startup Club, the largest club on Clubhouse with over 790,000 members and growing. They're one of the world's largest communities supporting the startup ecosystem, from founders to those wishing to work for a startup and everything in between. You can find them at www.startup.club for blogs, recordings, and a calendar of upcoming shows, and on the Clubhouse app. Just search Startup Club for daily shows 24/7. You can also now listen to their show, the Serial Entrepreneur Club podcast, on Apple and Spotify too. Stop by to connect, learn, and grow together. All right, let's bring in the boy wonder.
Hello. You sound much more chipper today, I'd say.
Oh man, it's good to get some sleep. It's good to get rid of this hack. Still got a little bit of it, but yeah, I feel so much better.
Great. And we're on time too. What a day we're having. This is great. So, welcome everyone. I see we have Cool Hand joining us and Rad. Good to see you. If you're watching, let us know in the comment sections. Let us know where you're watching from in the world. We're over here in Toronto, Canada. Norm is just an hour north of us. And yeah, we start off today's episode by smashing those like buttons, giving us those thumbs up. And if you have any questions during the show for Neil or Norm, feel free to ask away in the comment sections. We're going to be going over a couple different keys for their Amazon business. And if you have any questions, beginner or advanced, let us know. We're going to be saving those for the end of the episode to kind of go over with our Q&A session. And we have a great prize today. So if you're new to the Lunch with Norm podcast, we do a giveaway every single podcast. So stick around to learn more about that giveaway happening as well. And also welcome Gavin from Jacksonville, Florida. Good to see you. And yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, so as Kelsey was saying, if you do have any comments, questions, throw them over in the comment section. We will get to them before the end of the show. We'll try. And sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, enjoy the show, and welcome Neil.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me here.
I can't wait to start talking about some of these topics that we're going to hit into today. First of all, before we get into anything, I want to make sure that everybody knows that that is your last name.
Yeah. It's not an acronym. It's not an MBA, PhD. It's TWA, not TWA. So many people like to think it's some sort of accolade, but it is not. Yeah.
I just wanted to get that out in the air.
Let's get it out of the way. TWA.
Okay. So, I think, I don't know if this is going back to basics, but I being able to build an Amazon account, for some people, it seems like it's impossible. And I want to go and I want to just kind of whip through everything, cut like just let's just get back to the basics and show people how they can build their account.
Yeah. So at the fundamental levels is basically what we're talking about here. And
Right.
the reason I like to hammer on this so much, and you and I talked about this a while back, Norm, is that it is the most critical component of starting your brand is building great products. People want to think initially, I've got to get people bought into my brand before they will buy my products. The beauty of Amazon is obviously that trust relationship factor that we leverage to skip that conversation and topic that they may be having somewhere else on the web and use Amazon as what I call the add to cart. So Amazon is an add to cart. It isn't the conversation, isn't the topic, isn't the knowledge transfer. It really is the validation of the product and the purchasing behavior of the user when they show up. And really, they are there to buy. They have already sort of entered add to cart mode, which if you're trying to do a funnel, if you're trying to do Shopify, if you're trying to do another mechanism of getting people to purchase your products, one of the major metrics is tracking your add to cart stats. That's people who showed up and actually added your product to cart. Of course, you want that percentage to be high and you want your conversion rates to be high. I think a lot of people don't understand the value of just focusing on a product first and then building brand around the product. And then from there, that obviously can build the brand into multi-channels beyond Amazon into, what we like to all refer to as true e-commerce, if you will. Although I still see Amazon in a successful channel of 7, 8, 9 figures being a successful e-commerce company that just hasn't, diversified yet.
Right.
Some of the fundamentals again of that would be, the same topic, same question I've heard for over a decade, which is, what the blank do I sell? What the heck do I sell? What other acronym you like to throw in there? What do I sell? And it literally comes down to the first starting block of a successful brand is the product. Knowing your avatar and understanding your avatar makes all the difference in your successful revenues. And of course, if you've done the numbers correctly, if you've gone by the numbers, you'll have a profitable product. If you don't understand how to do that, we're going to talk about that for a minute too, which
Right.
builds into answering that question. What do I sell? Obviously, it's got to be profitable. When you mentioned don't marry your products, that's something I love to hammer down on people because so many people get emotionally invested in the time and energy it takes to move a product into the market, which can be considerable at times, depending upon the year and transportation and other logistic troubles we have a little bit today. Some perceived, some actual, some not so actual, depending upon how you manage the business. And then, of course, it's the understanding of when to let that product go. So I go find another one because I'm still looking for a qualified product to really hedge my brand against and then start going down from there. And that's an aspect of understanding what the system is actually looking for, what the customers are looking for within that system, and the psychological benefits they have within this big filing system that Amazon's created of products and departments and subcategories and nodes and all this other stuff that they've organized for us, along with a giant amount of traffic that they push through every month. It is a river of traffic that flows within Amazon, but it's also a big decision tree of product data. I'll cover that just a little bit. And then really the final component of making sure we understand all of those things to wrap it up is what I call the platinum principle. And that is really understanding that anything you build at the foundational start of this business, the components you put in place, the fundamentals you do well, to the business building you do well, to the multi-channel you do well, is building with the end in mind. Okay. It's keeping an exit principle in the top part of your mind because these businesses are worth a lot in 24 months. When you want to exit the product, the brand, or the entire business, it's a big opportunity to repeat that process, even do it on scale. And so let's break down any one of those parts. We can start at the very beginning. Norm, you tell me what rabbit hole you are most interested in talking about, and we'll go after that one.
Well, I like right back to the basic.
Yeah.
Finding the product. And I talk to a lot of people,
Yep.
and so many people will get stuck on it. I don't know if it's just information overload, but they just can't pull the trigger on one single product.
Confidence
They
in the
go
product.
back and
Yeah.
they relook and they,
Right.
they're what ifing every possible scenario and they never pull the trigger.
They get analysis paralysis is another way of
Exactly.
saying it. They get stuck in the questions, and it really gets down to not actually truly understanding what decision-making points should I use on a product to actually move forward with it, because they may not have the right decision-making components, the right data available to them, or they may not understand the data that's available to them, and they simply don't know how to make that final decision. And that decision process is one of the things we're going to cover right now, because that's an important component to actually understanding how to get to the next step and actually grow this product brand. It's a decision-making process at the end of the day. And with bad data, you make bad decisions. If you trust the data implicitly without having any knowledge or experience around it, that can backfire on you as well, right? Many of the tools that are out there are algorithmic driven. They are not 100% data driven by Amazon. So you have to use that as a gauge of the data, whether you're using Helium 10, Jungle Scout, or any other tool. It's a gauge without the knowledge component. Okay. It's about the equivalency of trying to climb Everest without recognizing that maybe you packed the wrong oxygen bottle. Well, I got oxygen, you say, but maybe you packed it too rich. Yeah, that's going to hurt you too, right? So it's nuances in the knowledge versus the data. So as we start out, the component of things I want people to really just take an actionable step on today, that I always challenge my people to do as I'm mentoring them through the beginning steps of having never sold on Amazon, is to come up with 500 product ideas in 21 days. Now, I know that's going to hit some people's ears wrong because they're like, I can't come up with 5 product ideas. So let me give you a mnemonic, a mechanism, something you can take with you right now and deploy, because there's 125 million plus Prime members, and it's a good guarantee that if you're selling around Amazon, most likely you're buying from Amazon too. So I would say with confident assumption that many of you on here have Prime. So what I would encourage you to do as a Norm Squinty, I've had mine since like 2001. I looked this up the other day. My account is like super old. So you can go back 90 days, you can go back 6 months, you could go back 12 months into your account history on Amazon as a buyer. So go into your Amazon.com account, go to your order history, go up to the top right corner and filter back by like 12 months. What I want you to do is I want you to start pulling down that product, because I guarantee you there's at least more than 100 product opportunities setting in that list right now that you could literally write down in the next hour to meet the first beginning component of your 500. You see, depending upon how much you buy, if you're like my house, 2 to 3 or 4 times a week, it appears, as these trucks roll up and down and destroy my dirt road that I have to constantly fix with a tractor, then you're probably looking at 200 to 300 products in that time frame that you've purchased. All of those are potential ideas. That's all first level analysis. So when you say I can't come up with product ideas, you're not looking in the right place. Why? Because you are a consumer and you are someone who's buying stuff on Amazon, most likely. And you are purchasing products that, if the data is correct from Market Pulse, about 7 out of 10 or 70% of those products are from third-party sellers like us. So with 70% confidence that one of those products that you purchased in the past 12 months came from a third-party seller like us. Okay. So first level analysis is to determine those products. Second level analysis is to go in and find out, is that a private label seller? Is it Amazon? Is it a reseller? That's just looking at the Amazon buy box to kind of determine what the seller status is of the product that you're looking at, that you purchased in the past. The next level analysis is to look into your urban environment, okay, with the products you purchased. And instead of looking at it from the consumer, look at it from the buyer, look at it from the point of perspective that says, why did I buy that product? What solution was I trying to solve? What thing was I trying to gain? Was I trying to gain new shoes for my kid or a backpack for their new school? Was I trying to run faster or jump higher? Was I trying to gain weight or lose weight or replace my hair? Or did the kids need it? Whatever the purpose-driven aspect of that product was, stop and ask yourself, why did I buy that product? What was I trying to solve? The goal here at this level of analysis is to determine the avatar presentation of who this product is actually selling to. I guarantee there's millions of people just like you who are buying these products out there. And the question you're getting down to is, is this a product that I could see potentially selling in the market? Now, the next level of this analysis, in my opinion, is look to see if it's more than $30. If it's more than $30 in retail price point, we're getting a little closer to the second topic, by the numbers, to determine that this is actually a potentially profitable product that I should sell. Now, we call this big list that you're putting together your most list list of product ideas that you can come up with. Okay. And I just gave you a way to literally go and get a minimum of 100 of those in the last 12 months. You probably more than 200 or 300. Then you can actually identify products at this point that you put on your most list of products I can come up with. Okay. It's a big filter that we're working through, a decision tree filter of data and analytics. It's going to lead us down to 3 to 5 products that we should actually choose. Okay. Everybody still with me? I don't know if there's questions. I should pause and make sure we're.
No, just keep going. Oh, I do have one thing to say,
Yeah,
though.
go ahead.
I recently went through this, and you just kind of sparked a memory. I'm an old guy. I have some memory left. But anyways, I looked at my orders, and this just hit me while you were talking. I was looking for light bulbs, okay? And I'd gone through, and I spent too much time looking for white light bulbs, but they were light bulbs. Anyways, there is a lot of people know him. He talks a lot on podcasts, and he got his start um, noticing that he needed a light bulb, going to the Business Depot, seeing that there was a sale on the light bulbs, and this wasn't private label, but this was retail arbitrage, and just a brilliant move. He saw the light bulb, he saw it on special. He asked if he could get the store's light bulbs, put them on Amazon, sold out almost immediately, went back and bought them from right across the nation. Everyone. He made about $1 million on that. Wow. And that he never had any Amazon experience. He took a course and he just got going. But where did he get that idea? Needing a light bulb.
Yeah, it's just finding a solution to deliver, right? And the beauty, again, of Amazon's system is that trust in which the similarity and familiarity of the product are already known because the consumer has already had a conversation, a decision tree, a referral base, some other influence before they showed up to Amazon, because everybody on Amazon is not there to gain knowledge about the product base. They're there to validate a decision-making process that already occurred before they showed up. They're simply making secondary decisions in the price, maybe the video sold them on the benefit they're looking for, the bullet point triggered that buying purchase momentum, and they went to add to cart. So that can happen relatively fast. My expectation for listings we build is between 40 to 60% conversion rates. So we really work on the understanding that this is just a giant add to cart like any other place on the web where we want to convert sales, instead of treating it like a knowledge-based solution like so many sellers do, or a way to try to convert the customer into buying my product. Instead, they're missing the buying signals that Amazon sellers are looking for. And part of that comes down to identifying the right product that is sending those signals, okay? And not just the signals it's sending in terms of the social aspect of the LED lights and the way he thought and realized that was an in-demand product that I could sell, but it was the need for that product. It was the need for the consumer to get the kind of product, the size, the shape, the LED color, with the cool light, blue light, 3000, 5K, whatever it was they were looking to find that differentiation. This product met the number one criteria on Amazon for top sellers in what I call Amazon's slipstream of traffic. It's like a river of traffic flowing through Amazon for every one of these products. And what people don't understand is there's river by river by river running inside of Amazon. They think of it's like this giant spaghetti of traffic, when in actuality, this $1 trillion funnel knows exactly from the point of entry to the point of purchase how long it takes a customer to move through that traffic channel. And every one of these products has a traffic channel. People want to understand, is the complexity into trying to communicate the product? No, it's actually making sure that you get the product into that traffic channel correctly. Let me give you an analogy. It's like going up to a river that's flowing by, and it's a big river, and you got the kids and all your stuff and your gear and your igloo and your chair, and you have a seat down by the edge of the river. And you look at it and it's moving really quickly, and there are people floating by, and like, man, that river's moving pretty quickly. So you, in this instance, the seller, think, well, the river needs to move closer to me. So what you do is you try to coax the river over, you give the river a 50% off coupon code, you try to do and incentivize things to get the river to move to you, when in actuality, you're planted outside the river. It's not going to move to you. You need to get in the river. And the difference between 2 or 3 sales a day and 100 sales a day is whether or not you're on the sideline, really on the shore, or if you're actually in that river. And so many people miss the components of this. And one of those is ensuring that your profitability outmatches your competition. Competition is good. So as we go through our more list of criteria, we want more profitability in our product. We want more upside potential. We want more competitors. We don't want saturation. Of course, that's everybody's gotcha. What does that look like? Trending products that over time prices are reducing versus trending products in competition where prices are going up. Okay, if you track your 3, 4, 5 competitors you're going to target, they should have traffic moving up over time, over 12 months, not traffic moving down. You shouldn't see spikes in coupon codes and other things in their traffic. Those are all indicators of short-term temporary products that do not have long-term brandability or value to you as an evergreen or blue sky product. Those are all indicators, okay? So as we look for these products that are trending up, we need to make sure our profit's there. And this is actually net profit, all we really care about. The money I put in my pocket every time a unit sells, okay? Net profit.
So important.
So cost of goods, profit margin, gross margin, all of these things get screwed up. Let's get really clear on this right now, okay? Gross is a giant collection of profit. Net is actually what gets filtered out the bottom, okay? Net's what actually comes to you. So as you get this cost of goods, as you have your marketing, your ACOS and TACOS up here, you've got your storage and shrinkage returns, you've got your other variables of cost. transportation, logistics, freight, etc. You need all of those to be very clear and documented, so you know that if every unit you sold, you've covered all of that, plus the ability to order one unit, meaning your cost of goods. You can reorder one unit of a unit purchased, and then you get your net profit. It shouldn't be $5 or less. 70%, I know, of the sellers, and this is my own stat, so you can throw this out, right? Lying by stats. It's, in my opinion, from the people I know, it's around 70% of the people who fail in Amazon have sub $10 profit margins, and it's not enough for them to keep up with competition, long-term brand viability, growth, PPC costs, market and changes in the market for potential competitors and saturation, as well as logistics, freight movement, and other challenges we have within the environment, especially today. It was something we were cognizant of, Norm, like 3, 4, 5 years ago. But all of a sudden in the last 2 years, it's a major critical component of ensuring you stay in stock with your products, as well as making it and continuing to make your business profitable. So I recommend a minimum net profit of $12. Okay. So as you do your cost of goods, as you get your manufacturing, logistics, all this other stuff front loaded onto your product, you should have $12 you put in your pocket for every unit sold. That's my criteria.
Neil, can I interrupt you there for
Go
a
right ahead.
second? That was my biggest mistake going into Amazon.
Yeah.
I sold soap. And when I got onto Amazon, I didn't take into consideration, this is something I forgot, some of the costs, that Amazon fees that were going to be $4.65. If I'm
Yeah.
selling a soap for $7.99,
Yep.
not a lot left after you take out your cost of
About
goods,
35
right?
cents in profit at the end of the day.
Right. And so what happened is I
Yeah.
tried to bring up the cost of the soap over $9, and then people stopped buying the soap because it was too expensive.
Right.
Until I changed the packaging, and
Yeah.
that's a whole other
You
topic.
rebranded
Perceived
something
value.
stronger. Yeah.
Yeah. But one of the things I was able to do, so if you're stuck in that, if you're stuck with a low product right now, like a low dollar value product, one of the things that you might want to consider is bundling it. So we did. We took it and we created a 3-pack or a 5-pack, and those were very profitable. And I was on a call yesterday, and I was really glad to hear this because in our group, we're talking about higher dollar value products. And one of the people on the call, I'm not mentioning any names, he was saying that he's targeting something at $2,000. And I'm going, congrats. If you've got traffic that can drive $2,000, or Ernest Epps.
Yeah.
Ernest Epps is
Yes.
always talking about
High ticket.
high ticket,
That's all he
and
does.
how to pull out not $100, but a lot more than that out of these high ticket products. And people are also looking for them.
They
So
are. I mean, he's a very smart dude in what he does. His thing is if you sell 3 to 5 of those high tickets a month, all of a sudden, you're at $3, $5, $10,000 in profit. And he's right. It's a little bit longer sales. There's unique challenges to any one of those components, but he certainly knows that when one sells, it's profitable. And that's the most important component, I think, of that aspect. And you can sell those on Amazon too. Just don't expect to return, hundreds of units a month.
Right.
In some areas, unless you're at the top end and you're fighting off the major brands, but it's doable. That's like tier 4 in my list of tiers. Tier 1 is where you were. Tier 1 is where we played for a little bit too, at the very beginning of this whole thing, which I think a lot of us make that initial mistake. We think volume, which is a little bit immature in the aspect of Amazon, but you have to remember, if you're looking at it from a business perspective, an immature business person would think, well, I sold 1,000 units at 50 cents this month. If I sell 2,000 units next month, I'm going to make more money. And I hear that a lot, and that is completely wrong. Keep the 1,000 units next month, but raise the price to $1, right? Get your profit up to $1, sell the same 1,000 units next month. So our goal is to always raise prices to outcompete and outmaneuver our competition, because we can go buy more of them. So buy more of their customers away from them, right? It's an ecosystem of competition. I want there to be competition because I want to go take away their sales. So I want that competition. It's something I demand, and it's something that must be there. For what we refer to again as innovation versus invention. So the product types we're talking about, these most and more qualification products, you're looking at something that's innovation, not invention. That's another qualifier. Okay. It means that I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm not trying to create something wholly unique. This is a fundamental mistake I see a lot of beginners come to and ask, I don't see this product in the marketplace. I think it'll do really well. And it's an inverse to their brain for a minute. They have to think about this and change their viewpoint. That is wrong. Like, you don't want to be the unique product in the marketplace. You specifically don't want it to be your first few products you put into the marketplace. Later on, build a brand, build it up and build up your chain and supplies, build up your multi-channels, and go for it. Put an invention in there that no one's heard of that you can sell to your tribe. If you don't have a tribe and a customer base against your brand, don't start with an invention. Okay, go in with an innovation. So the thing you're looking at for those products is there's more upside potential. And that means this product has opportunities to change something about it to make it slightly unique. Okay. And that's one of the opportunities to not marry your product. Okay. Go steal someone else's girlfriend instead. There are plenty of girlfriends inside of this system. And here's an example. I was up late one night watching infomercials with my baby daughter, and I was feeding her. I was somewhere between 2 and 4 in the morning, and they have all the worst infomercials that are the cheapest run at that time. It's like credit. And I remember seeing this thing pop up, and she was little, and the oldest one was only 2, and this was my second daughter. And so it basically was this thing called Seat Pets, right? And it was a pet with, this big face, and they had a cat and a penguin and a dog, and it was really cute. And it goes in the car, and you put your seatbelt through the car when they're car seat, and then they can lean their head on it, and they can put their stuff in there, and they can make sure they have this cute little pet in the car. But that's really clever. So I sent it to my partner, and I said, hey, what do you think about this? Let's brainstorm some ideas. I mean, these people are running an infomercial. This has got to be making money. You don't spend less than $500,000 on an infomercial. So I went on to Amazon. They were there, but they had really bad listings, and they didn't have a ton of traffic yet. So we went in there. I'm like, we can create a version of this. So my partner comes back, and he had young children at that point. His son was interested in anime. And he said, you know what if we made the faces a little more like anime? We can cross this kids anime upcoming thing over here that was starting to trend really fast. And we can do the fundamental toys and games and kids and pets over here. And we could bring those two together. And I was like, that's genius. So we had them mock up some, in the market. We just innovated a little difference, and we crossed 2 categories of anime and kids toys together to make these plush pets. So we went out and got 2,000 units of those, and we launched them in the market, and we sold them all in the first 8 days.
Jeez.
So there was a demand for traffic for that product, where people were coming from the infomercial emails and other places, going to Amazon and looking for seat pets. And we simply put our product in the market, and there was a competition. There was suddenly a competitor. They were the first in the market. We were number 2. So my routing is, hey, it's okay to be number 2. We're number 2. So number 2 was okay. Why? Because we were basically leveraging ethically their traffic, keywords, and monetizing off the back end of these infomercials, as well as their products. And so what ended up happening is we got another 2,000 units. And as soon as we got that on board, it shot out really fast, again, with no advertising. So the point is, there is traffic flowing. There was traffic flowing for these types of products. We simply put an innovative idea in front of that traffic. We went into the water and literally got that product sold imperfectly. And we sold 10,000 units of that product in 8 weeks. So it was just flying, and it had a pretty decent profit margin on it. It had about an $8 profit margin. And it was one of the first ones we started to learn about branding and traffic awareness, and not marrying the products, just testing them very quickly and looking for trends that we could, ethically steal traffic and advertising from. And so that became a component of us test marking products very quickly, is looking for combinations and trends. You mentioned bundling. This is in essence bundling 2 ideas together into one product. There's another example that I haven't done yet, so I'm going to give it out on this call as a freebie, because somebody probably needs to go research this one, do their diligence, and I can't guarantee it's going to sell, but I don't see a lot of bike helmets with unicorns on them. I don't see a lot of bike helmets with horses. I don't see a lot of bike helmets crossing children with creatures and animals that have to do a lot with the trending in the market right now for mythical creatures and stuff. I think somebody is missing an opportunity. There's some competition there. There's definitely good profit. And it could be an interesting product. So these, again, just start to think about the market a little differently. Think about combining things. You mentioned, again, bundling. That's just a bundling of ideas versus a bundling of product with a higher perceived value. Why? Because I could charge $49 for a unicorn helmet, and the other one's $19. So now I'm suddenly changing a whole different perception of avatar. So as you don't marry these products, okay, the other qualifier is looking for those innovations, looking for those opportunities and trends, and taking your product and saying, does it have upside potential? Can I innovate it? What are the other people saying about it in the reviews and stuff? And is there something that I can change that will add value? And then represent that value back to the marketplace, who says, oh, wow, this is fantastic. It looks like anime, and my kid's into anime, or whatever it is. So the point there is, though, to test those products. Once you have the idea and you've got your list, once you've validated the profit, then the next thing, again, is to don't marry those products, test them. I don't love any of my products until they meet my metrics. I don't fall in love with them. I don't dream about what they'll do for me and my kids someday on Tahiti or whatever. I look at their products and I say, is there somebody in the market who wants them? When the product proves itself and it's profitable, I'll fall in love with that product. Okay. It's a totally different way of approaching this. Test, test, test. The aspect of getting it into that slipstream, okay, that's that river of traffic. So we got our product, we got our idea, we're moving it. Again, the light bulb LED was a perfect example. The plush toys is another example. There's these rivers of traffic just flowing. And I mean rivers, like millions of dollars a day in sales are occurring for somebody else, not you at this point. Or maybe it's you, and kudos and congratulations. Or maybe you want more of that traffic. So the deal was with those, and I'm sure that LED, there was a hyper relevant listing. Okay. There was a hyper relevant listing happening. And that means that the dialed in aspect was, wow, that's the product I want. Yes, that reinforces. Yes, that price point is within whatever validation I think is cool. And I want to buy that product. And I want to do it in 30 seconds or less. I want, people get and trip up their listings. I'll give you a pro tip. We've taken our listings from 250 characters down to less than 60, and our conversion rates have gone through the roof. So why do you think that is, Norm?
Well, I think it's probably more engaging. It's not a lot of fluff.
Not a lot of fluff, straight to the point.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest demographics on Amazon are sub 40 people buy, and it's mobile traffic. So most of the traffic on Amazon now has switched to mobile. So if you are not optimizing for mobile and you are trying to convince people on desktop to go through all these bullet points of conversation and all this other stuff, you're literally missing people swiping on mobile quickly. The attention span recorded the other day of an average American is 8 seconds. 8 seconds of attention. Thank you, social media. So what they found was, thanks to TikTok, that actually went down to 7 seconds. So it's actually gone down a second. It's impossible to understand that, but you've got 7 seconds, literally, on a mobile device to convince that person that your product is better than the rest of them. When you do that correctly, you get amazing conversion rates on Amazon because you are now getting out of the buyer's way and getting them to your cart. When Amazon sees that, its algorithm sees that, obviously it rewards you for keyword rankings and position rankings, and you can obviously rank for millions of keywords across Amazon. The thing about it is you need to be hyper relevant. I see a lot of immature people in business here for Amazon going out and trying to rank for like 50 keywords, and they wonder why they're not making any product. The more hyper relevant you are, even if it's a smaller audience than you might think is possible, you will maximize your profits and your sales from a smaller niche audience by optimizing down into that audience, and stop trying to rank for 900 keywords. Try to rank for just 5 keywords for your primary product, hyper relevant listing to what they want to buy from. And there's a section in Amazon that's called ITKs, item type keywords. Okay. It's what I refer to as like a super buying keyword. That means there's only 3 to 5 of those keywords in the market that are the most relevant, attached to Amazon's actual, filing system. It's what's called taxonomy engine. Okay. And this big latent semantic search engine. And it's basically saying that you are the most relevant for one of those primary ITKs and maybe 2 or 1 or 2 more, max of 2 to 3. The difference between you getting 5 sales a day and 100 sales a day could be that you're not in the right ITK. You're not in the right node within Amazon. You are not properly aligned in that traffic slipstream for your product. Does that make sense, Norm?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So if you go in and understand to do your diligence on your product listing and ensure you're relevant to the person looking for the light, who is very convinced this is the one they want to buy, who got there because Amazon showed it to them more, because the relevancy of that keyword, that person, and that avatar showed your listing ahead of someone else's. Okay. It gave you the traffic, not another listing. So people don't realize this filing intelligence artificial system is prioritizing traffic for sellers. They're looking at maximum profit. They're looking at maximum conversion rates. They're looking at maximum relevancy of the search terms and the traffic flow of that user to your product. And then they're rewarding those. Why is that important to understand? I can go to competition with people who have 5 to 10,000 reviews, and I can go in and beat them from day one on no reviews and come up with 50 to 100 units in sales on day one. It's possible. I've proven it multiple times. I just proved it with another student. When you find that person and really lock into it, it's very important to understand. So as that decision process is nailing it down, these are some additional data points you need to consider. I've listed them. I can go back and tell them real quick. I know I've said them all kind of in the flow.
Why don't we come back in a second on that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So if you do have any questions, shoot them over. We want to know, are you using any of, are you optimizing for mobile? That's something that we talk about quite a bit on the podcast. So let us know if you are, and how that worked out for you. have you cut down your titles to be, 50 characters rather than 249, and how that's working out. But anyways, the other thing, we have a great giveaway today. And Neil, why don't you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, well, in simple terms, everybody's time is worth something, right? Your time is worth something. Norm, people who are listening to this, they're spending some time with us right now, and I greatly appreciate that, because that's time you're not going to get back, and I definitely hope it's worth your time. In response to helping people along, I've just set up a simple no pressure discovery call where you guys can come through and ask me questions. It's literally not a sales call. You will talk to me. I don't have a sales team. It will not be a hard pitch or a close or a manipulative sales thing or whatever. If there's something I can do to help you discover in your business or your getting started aspect that will get you down the right path, help you with the right steps, help you overcome any troubles, I'm more than happy to spend 45 minutes with you just going over that. Should you choose to do anything with me in the future, it's your choice. It's a real simple thing. So if I can help you, just let me know. I'd be honored to spend some time with you.
And as you can tell, Neil knows his stuff. So he's doing that as a favor for the show. So if you're interested, hashtag Wheel of Kelsey and tag 2 people, you get an extra entry. Also, like usual, we'll throw in a month of the Private Label Legion or Centurion League as well. Okay, so Kelsey, put your finger on the button. Press the sponsorship. Thank you. As you know, at Lunch with Norm, bigger is always better. Bigger business, bigger profits, and yes, bigger lunches. Z wants to make sure that your business and profits are bigger by taking you and your business international. They are a one-stop importer of record shop, including compliance and logistics services. They focus on all the elements involved in a smooth first-time custom clearance so that you can focus on what you're good at, selling. Click on the screen now or follow the link in the description box below and get 50% off your first shipment today. Okay, now we can get back to the topic. And I'm kind of curious about your research to find those relevant keywords that you're talking about, these 1 to 3 keywords that you want to target on your listing. How do you find them?
Well, Amazon gives us this data. Most people don't realize it's hidden in something called a browse tree guide. Inside of Amazon, as you go down and select which particular area, department, and category that you are looking for the relevancy of this product to sell, you'll go through the upload process. And as part of a web-based upload process, there's a link to look at the browse tree guide for that particular area. When you download it, it's an Excel spreadsheet. It should be the most relevant one they have available. Inside of there are the browse nodes. And what you'll need to do is go through those browse nodes, and your goal here, as you're understanding your avatar, is to ensure that the product type is matching as closely to that ITK, item type keyword, that Amazon has already selected inside of the system. Okay, so that's part of the relevancy, tying product to ITK. If product idea and concept cannot specifically be found in one that's very obvious, like the item type keyword, let's say hypothetically is LED lights. Well, if you're going to sell LED lights and you want to be the best seller, you need to be in that node called LED lights. And if you're not in there, maybe you're in light furnishings, you're in a different node, you're not necessarily maximizing the relevancy of your product to the buyer. So the aspect of that would be that there is one primary keyword for that particular node for your product. Then as you look around, you'll see secondary and third ITKs for products that are closely aligned to the, say, LED lights. Those are going to be secondary keywords and tertiary keywords for you to consider. It will usually be 1 to 3 word keyword phrases. They will all tie around that primary super keyword, that item type keyword that you're going to use. That should be the one you are going to be most hyper relevant for on your listing. So it's there. You just have to go know to get it and what to do with it when you see it.
Right. So let's say that you are successful with the LED lights and you've got the node and you're fine there, but you want to expand and you want to try to get, I don't know what the next one would be up, but let's say it's the next node up. Okay. So the LED is a sub node. Mm-hmm. Would you at any point, would you ever change that sub node to go to the higher parent node?
No. Because if you understand what's called a latent semantic search engine, which is the A9 algorithm running behind Amazon, then you would understand it's going to rank you for relevancy all the way to the top. So all the way up from subcategory, category to department. Once you're ranked for that node, you're going to be ranking for the rest of them. It's the same way if I rank for a 4-phrase keyword phrase, but the primary item tape keyword is 2 or 1 of those words, I will end up ranking for that top word after I rank higher for the 3 and 4 letter phrases, right? So the system itself is churning through those things and ranking your product based on its relevancy to those keywords. So there are a number of variations and things that it's doing, along with a number of sentinels or bots that are running around trying to qualify your new product we're talking about here with the existing products. In fact, there's over 100 of those that are basically what they're doing is trying to determine how well your product positions in the market within its node relative to the other nodes and the other competition around it. And then it's trying to make sure it presents a fair aspect of your new product to the marketplace in a 7-day window so that you have an opportunity to compete with someone with 5,000 reviews. Otherwise, if the system wasn't doing that, no one would ever win in the system except for those who were there first. And so Amazon knows it's a end game business model if they don't fix that. So they have a whole team doing that. And then they have sub teams that are just running nodes and bots inside that system at the individual levels to ensure that someone, like me with a brand new product going to market isn't completely obliterated by somebody who has thousands of reviews already, giving me a fair chance to prove I'm a good product and that I have a long-term history coming with the engine. So there's a whole lot of other things going on behind the scenes to kind of understand why that's important. And, through testing, time, working with our clients, running our own brands and products, and just my own background at IBM, when we built these latent semantic knowledge-based search engines, when I was at IBM and spending some time with some very smart people up in Armonk, New York, learning how these engines actually worked, only to realize later on, many years later, as I went to go look at selling on Amazon, they were running a version of a very similar algo that we built at the Watson machine with that team out in Armonk. And I thought, there's a lot of familiarity to what this system is doing. Let's figure out what it's doing. I know there's a lot of emphasis put on the brand, but just make sure we understand there's an algorithm working here. There's a technology that's making that occur. And that is that Amazon river I was talking about a second ago. It's flowing, and there's aspects of anybody getting involved in it with their first product, their first brand. Brand isn't established, in my opinion, until you have a minimum of 5 products. So once you launch in the market with 1 product, you are not yet a brand, in my opinion. Once you get 3 to 5 products and you become a portfolio of products, you're now becoming a brand. You're now becoming more of a potential household name. You have maybe subscribe and save set up. You've got potentially off Amazon marketing campaigns and things going for your business. You're now starting to mature into a brand. While you may have started with that from the beginning and had a brand name and got brand registered and even brand trademark, which you should do, you're not a brand yet. So your whole goal at this point is to just be the best product tester you can be. Because if you really want to win, it's going to be in the amount of products you test into the relevancy of your avatar. And when those winners come, you'll go vertical. So you asked me this a second ago from the LED, if I move up or down. No, what I will do is go in and just continue to own the LED market in variation, size, color, shape, any of the other products that are selling in there now. I will hedgehog down into that brand until I own the entire one, even until I own the entire segment and own the top 5 spots across the keywords for the top products. I will go down into that. And that's one of the reasons why we're able to scale to 7 and 8 figures and above.
Yeah. So one of the things that as an Amazon seller, you should be looking at, and you can get your category listing, you have to request that actually, but category listing report, and you can go through and you can check everything. And in there, you'll see your node. And if it's in the wrong category, and I know this has happened, I know it's happened by accident, I know it's happened just by ignorance, but check it out. And do exactly like Neil's talking about.
It could make a big difference.
It can make a huge difference.
And I mean within 15 minutes. So there's algos checking every 15 minutes in the ranking, right? It's BSR. BSR changes very quickly because it's constantly being updated. The same algo that validates you between nodes takes about 15 minutes. So from the time you switch a node to the time you watch your report, I've seen keywords jump from page 20 to page 2 in a matter of 15 minutes just by switching the node. And then within the next 24 to 48 hours, traffic went from 2 to 3 sales a day to 10 plus sales a day, just by switching the nodes of relevancy. So there are little tweaks. Now, if you switch, here's my caveat, track one change, remember what you did, write it down, tattoo it on your arm. And then if it doesn't turn positive, okay, maybe your 5 sales goes to 2 after 48 hours and that didn't turn out well, turn it back, put it back. Remember to put it back. So many people make this mistake. They change too many things and I have no idea what goes wrong. It's just those 2 millimeter shifts when you're already in the market and selling don't make huge swings and swing changes.
Exactly. And one of the things I can recommend is if you are, like a lot of people are using Helium 10, when you go into their keyword research tool, there is an area for notes. So just, or you can put it into a spreadsheet, but just make sure you do that, because if exactly like Neil said, if you change everything, you won't know why it went wrong or why it went right.
People get impatient and change too many things and go into what did this go wrong? Why did my sales disappear? It's like, well, what did you do? Well, I don't know. I changed this, 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 and this. And it's like, or I don't remember what I changed. No, don't do that.
And
so,
sorry, Neil, but
no, go ahead.
Tim Jordan and Bradley Sutton did something about a year and a half ago called Project X. They did exactly what you said. They went into a market that was it was egg holders, plastic egg holders, and the market was completely saturated, and there were a dime a dozen. Okay, so they started looking. They went to Pinterest, they went to Etsy, they went to different areas to look for different niches within that market, and they came up with a wooden egg holder. At the time, there were very little, almost no wooden egg holders on the market. They took that, they put it up there, they got into that niche, and all of a sudden, boom, they started getting a ton of sales because they were very relative for the wooden egg holder niche that they found by doing competitive research. It was actually outside of Amazon, but it was on Pinterest and Etsy, and they made a good buck off of it. Now everybody's watched, a lot of people have watched Project X, and so the market is saturated.
This is the new silicone spatula of 2022. Well, see, there's opportunities to take advantage of that too, because you are in lanes of traffic, right? At that category level, department level, and that would be really close to that most likely first subcategory, or even up at the Department of Home and Kitchen. Is going to be a lot of traffic. I mean, thousands of units. We have some people moving 1,000+ units a day in some of those niches. The end result is that there is opportunity there too. So you can't look at it as initial product investment, because you're going to find yourself at a very low profit margin. However, if I want to compete with you in the market and I want to enter your market, and in 9 months I want to own you, and I see you in the market, and I'm going to come down and I'm like, okay, this is my 3 to 5 competitors I'm going to go after. I'm going to find the products that are relative to your brand that will move 3, 4, 5,000 units a month. And I'm going to go suck up all that initial traffic from you, all those initial buyers. And then guess what I'm going to do, Norm? I'm going to look at them and I'm going to approach them from a tier 2, tier 3 perspective. So I'm going to own those brands by going in and literally just buying up in almost a loss leader format. I don't usually do it in a loss leader, but I try to get it at minimum profit just to get the product to move thousands of units. And then I'm going to capture the audience and I'm going to move into my tier 2, tier 3 avatars. So that's another way for me to go in and compete on a brand with.
Neil,
product.
You just hit on a pet peeve of mine.
Uh-oh.
No. I mean, I'm glad you're backing up what I say is like during a launch and you're trying to take market share.
Yes.
If you're at a break even, that's not a bad thing. You want to take market share. And then once you start to get the momentum and you get the BSR, now you can start increasing your price. Now there's different ways of launching a product, but that is definitely one that I like to use, because you want to get people to take it. If you're, I hope this doesn't confuse people, but I find that there's usually 3 levels of pricing on a search result page: lower tier, mid tier, and high tier. And if you go out and you have a high tier product, but you reduce it to a lower mid tier, then people are going to look at it. And if they see that there's a perceived value of a much higher product on the high tier, they're going to start eating up your product.
That's right.
But if it's going to take you a bit of a loss, and not even a loss, but a break even or a smaller profit, why are you not doing it?
It really surprises people when I ask them to go in and raise their prices.
Yes.
Why? Because they don't actually understand that they're still sitting on the shoreline of the river, because they think that they're competing at the price value level and they're not actually competing on the perception of value from the avatar. So they raise their prices and they actually move from the shoreline into the river. And it's always surprising to watch, because then they're, like crap, like I'm going to run out of inventory, so I got to keep raising my prices more. Well, they find that they keep raising their prices and the inverse relationship happens. They actually start selling more units. And this just happened with a buddy who launched a product with 1,000 units, and he was in at $50 to get out of the gate. He sold 50 units in the first day, and over 7 days, he sold 350 units at $20 in net profit with no marketing. And now he's like, but that rate, I'm out of my 1,000 units before I can reorder. So he starts raising his prices. Well, guess what happened? They started buying more.
Yeah.
He kept raising his prices to try to slow down the
Yeah.
inventory,
Yeah.
and they started buying more. So sometimes your problem is you. Sometimes your problem is a misunderstanding of the market. You don't understand the avatar. You don't understand, as Norm said, low, mid, and high, what I call tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. So to take that opportunity is to approach it as a business. If we approach it from a business perspective, I know that there's a time that I will be profitable in the business, working the activities of the business model. What I don't have is an expectation that every product is profitable once it goes to market. What I'm looking for is that it will take up market share, that it will sell. And in time, I will dominate that area by raising prices, adding additional products in there to make up profitability, and then working other aspects of e-commerce to capture that customer in person into my tier 2 and tier 3 products. Because I'm approaching it as a business person with a business goal in 12 months, not 12 days. Many of you who are trying to sell in the market against me and my builders are going to suffer from that because you don't understand, you're not approaching it from a business perspective. And that's one of the major things. Looking at those products, looking at those numbers, looking at your market research and competition, and understanding what the algo is trying to do for you in the products that it's trying to sell. I think too many people are resisting all those levels. They're literally fighting against each one of them and wondering why they're not being successful. Flip it on its head, approach it as a business person. This is something in 6 and 12 months I'm still going to be doing. I'm going to make it profitable, and I'm going to keep finding those products that I'm going to hedge hog in, as Jim Collins says in Good to Great. I'm going to hedge hog down into those products until I become a great brand. And it may be the most boring product ever because sometimes success is boring, but I will sell fuzzy bunny slippers to grandma if she's passionate and loves, and I'll sell her every variation I can think of, because she's happy and she loves the product and the brand. And I think some people get caught up in that idea that I have to sell a certain type of product in a certain way. And in actuality, that's not really what you should be doing here. You should be passionate about the business first, the brand second, and then of course, the person who is supporting and you're serving in that brand, support their needs, and the money will come, because I think we focus too much on the reverse.
Right. So we're getting deep into the podcast, but before we get to the end and get to the questions, I just want to touch on, you have something called the Platinum Principle. Do you want to get into that?
Yep. So again, in simplistic terms, it's remembering to start the business with the end in mind. It means building the foundation of your house correctly. So many people go in and they want to put cinder blocks when they should have a foundation. They want to put pieces of wood when they should actually put concrete. They don't build their foundation strong. And then they wonder why in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, their house and the going up is leaning to the left. And by the time they get to the second story, they can't get the walls to align. It's because they are not building with the fundamentals of business from the beginning to the end. The understanding is that, yes, you can cash flow these businesses nicely until sometime when you exit, but the exit really is the business model. With the opportunity with so much cash, 12 billion now plus being deployed into aggregators to purchase these brands, your opportunity is in 12 to 24 months, usually 24 months of time, to exit these companies for a massive payout. Your business is not done. Your job is not done. You can build multiple brands. You have the knowledge and skill set. You can go back and do this again over and over and over again. So if you're thinking about it more like a business in terms of opportunities, in terms of divisions, in terms of multiple brands, you will be able to do this faster and easier as you go through your first business. Your first business isn't your last business in this instance. You should understand operational independence, which is a huge component of ensuring that if I'm going to buy your brand, that I don't want you to be the whole reason why it works. You can't be a one-man show and come to me, even if you have a 7-figure business with great profits, and say, here's my business, because I don't want your job. And neither do the people I know who are buying these companies, right? They want to know that there's operational independence within that, where you have key employees, key processes, key systems in place, SOPs, standard operating procedures, and other things in your business that would allow me to take over the components of that property, the intellectual property, the key employees in that brand, and then be able to deploy 500 to $1 million into that brand and see it get to 5 to 10 million if it's not there already. So I'm looking for upside potential as well. Have you not fully taken over the market share in Amazon? I see a lot of businesses that get to 12 months. They think they're doing very great. They think they're owning a market. They don't really understand how much of the market share they're owning. It's typically sub 30%. And I know there's easily 50% of the market that can be taken over by any one particular brand in 24 months. And because of that, that's upside potential I'm going to look at to see how much more I can get out of the Amazon channel before I move into a multi-channel segment. So I'm speaking about the platinum principle from a buyer perspective, a business.
Is that me hanging or is that Neil?
Oh, I think that's Neil.
Did I lose you?
Oh yeah, he's
You're
back.
back. You're back.
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Sorry, we got a rainstorm going on and I lost you guys somewhere. Apologies.
No problem. It was just the ending of what you were just saying.
Oh, good. That was pretty caught up. Okay. So in essence, I'm looking again, what I'm talking to you about is where I would buy your company in 24 months, minimum of 24 months, minimum 7 figures, minimum 15% net profit in the business, upside potential for your brand. If your market share in Amazon is not above 30%, I want to know that I can get it there before I move it to another channel of direct to consumer, as well as, say deploying cash and moving that business out. Again, the brand has to have more segmentation opportunities, brand diversification options. I need to see my way through that path. Even key employees you might have might be under contract, whether employed or contractual. How are they tied to your business? Will they be willing to stick around? I don't want them to leave if they're if you're going to go with it. I don't want them to go
Good
with it
question.
either,
Yep.
right? I want to know that there's a structure of operational control that is happening with this business. So the platinum principle really, in its core component again, is to understand that if you're going to build these, don't treat it like a side hustle or a hobby business. Treat it like a real business.
It's that rainstorm.
In the market versus what is actual. I mean, I can take products to market that have no reviews. Okay.
Mhm.
But in the first 7 to 14 days, we'll have a process of getting a legitimate verified, 5 reviews on that. But it's not, again, a requirement. See, again, there's so many narratives out here, Norm, that I feel like you and I constantly have to break down in these conversations because somebody out there is not operating this like a business. They're operating it like a coaching. And because of that, they are not actually scaling these to the levels we have gone to, the 8 and 9 figure level. And because of that, you have a whole different types of aspect and viewpoints on this as a business. And I want people to tie into that platinum principle because you can exit these businesses when you're ready. It's like a golden parachute. You want to exit that business and go take a break with your family. You can do that. 3 to 4x at the FBA level if you meet those minimum requirements I just mentioned. If you do multi-channel, and I don't just mean, Walmart and eBay and Wayfair and other things. I mean, if you open a direct-to-consumer channel on Shopify or a funnel, and you are now bringing in a lot more customer data, okay, which is worth a lot of money. If you got email lists set up, if you got a TikTok campaign going or a Facebook campaign, you got some other way that you are now building and developing the brand segmentation that you are launched off Amazon, you could see anywhere between 6 to 10x on that business model. There's a lot of money to be made in building these companies for exit. And that's the predominant thing I want you all to focus on in the aspect of business building as true business building, not just a side hustle or a hobby. There is so much opportunity in the marketplace. People say there isn't, but I'll tell you, there is a lot of products and a lot of markets that are not being touched properly that we are going to take over at some point. And maybe you can too.
And it doesn't have to be the next greatest and best. Sometimes those are the hardest products. The new products are harder to bring to market. But brown bag products, I've sold them. My family sold brown bag. I think my dad went out of his way to try to find products that just other people wouldn't sell.
Yes.
Like he made backs of shoes and made a ton of money cutting backs of shoe and molding backs of shoe. They're called counters.
Nice.
And
retreads.
He did, yeah, like just crazy.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars on chair gliders.
It's just amazing to me because you get surprised by so many things. We were pleasantly surprised when the plush toy went out as well as it did, because initially our expectation was we're testing it. We're testing it to see. And when it took off, we're like, hey, we love you, but not until then. And it doesn't, again, have to be sexy. It's not invention, it's innovation. Innovation to the point you can brand trademark. I think that's important to go back because the platinum principle in the aspect of intellectual property and creating that business asset that's worth something, I'm going to look at you and say, are you brand registered? Do you have your website? Are you brand trademarked? Are there other aspects of your business and LLC that are structured in such a way that create a unique business opportunity? Or are you just a looky-loo, a ditto of anything else in the market? That's not going to be interesting, right? Because we can't take that brand to 5, 10, 20, 50 million a year without those foundational things in place. And so many people have not taken the time and money to do that. And I will tell you, that is an opportunity for you to get destroyed, if not in the next 3 months, but the next 9 months on Amazon, if you are not working properly within their system of registration, within the trademark, and within real business operations. Even we've had them come in and look at our manufacturing supply chain. They went down and visited it to make sure we're a legitimate brand. And if you can't prove that, you're going to get hosed. You're going to get hosed in the marketplace.
All right. So we got a few questions here. Kelsey, do you want to read them off for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. From Claudia, how much search volume do the 5 keywords need to have?
Whatever the search volume is for your target keywords is what you're going to get. Now, consider that if it says 10,000 a month, you have to consider that where your position for that keyword is how much traffic you're going to get. You will not get all 10,000 of those, even if you're the top position, top sponsored. Okay. It's going to be diversified. The algo does not give any one product all search term traffic. So we usually take, that and cut it down to like 70% conservatively. So if it says 10,000, there's a possibility for you to take over 7,000 if you are maximizing that keyword's traffic. Again, it's a great question, but I will call it to task in this way because it's a little bit of a scarcity versus abundance thinking. The scarcity is, well, if there's only 5 keywords and each one only has, 5,000 total search volume, there's not going to be enough traffic or conversions for me to make money. That's not actually the truth, because the inverse relationship of you getting 5,000 people.
All right. Let's guess what he's
the right
saying.
Profitability. Man, I'm sorry. I don't know why this keeps kicking out on me. I must have lost
It
a
was
squirrel
just
on
the
my
last
internet.
sentence.
I got a squirrel down on the internet out here in the country. Is that you will get the maximum amount you're going to get. If you can raise the conversion of your unit session percentage or your conversion rate up above 30 to 40%, then the max amount of traffic you will have access to for those keywords in the market means you're going to get the max amount of conversions above your competition. And then it will reward you for those additional keywords. Okay. You don't have to focus on them, but they will show up and you will convert on them because part of that latent semantic search engine is going to go out and find you all these other products that you can rank for, all these other keywords you can rank for.
Okay. Next.
Okay. Next question from Nathan. When considering if a product is a keeper, what specific things do you look for?
Yeah, back to that initial point. First off, the product has to prove it's got the right numbers. If I can approach the market with more than $12 in profit per unit, and I know my competition does not have $12 in profit per unit, what do you think I should do? What would be the outcome of that, right? The simple answer is I'm not going to necessarily worry about my A costs or my TA costs, my tacos, because I am going to go in and buy up all your people. Because if you have $6 in profit and I have $12 in profit, how much do you think I'm willing to spend to convert a customer that would have bought your product, but instead is going to go buy mine? So if you aren't thinking about it like that, then you can't compete with me in the market, right? And if you want to compete with me in the market, one of the major variables is to determine that your profit at least matches mine or is close to mine, knowing that you're going to be able to compete with me for going in and buying up the traffic. Okay. The other component is BSR should be, it's going to sound weird to people, between 50 and 100,000. Everybody wants to get sub 50,000 BSR, but that's where you're going to find a lot of those categories of department and subcategories. And there's a lot of saturation in that. And that's where you guys get caught up on the wrong metrics. 50 to 100K with great profit means I have an opportunity to grow into that niche and become the dominant leader, and then take over the additional niches with higher profitability later on, which will drive my BSR down to where I want it to be. So most of my products only have between 9 to 15,000 in BSR, and we're making very good money because we're making the profit. It's a very different approach to thinking, well, I got to get down to the 1,000 BSR before this is successful. No, I don't care about bestseller badges and best choice badges and that other stuff. I care about moving the units profitably.
My partner over at Honu, Afalabi, one of the things he always says is the profit is in the sourcing. It's just, there's so many areas in sourcing when you're looking for that product, and the supply chain management that could make or break. It's a differentiator.
You are correct.
All right. Our next question is from Cool Hand. It's a biggie, so hold tight. From Cool Hand, I currently have a product that is selling several units a day and is at the point I need to order more. The question I have is it currently a little better than a break-even product? The market prices are rising, so my product is going to go up also. I plan on adding some extra value to the product, but this particular product is going to still be less than a $12 profit product. In your opinion, should I pursue still selling this, or should I cut it off?
It sounds to me, if you're going to change the strategy and expectations of that product, it's an opportunity. If you shift it towards a product that will continue to grow your brand as a product that will move your brand farther into the marketplace, as long as it's not costing you currently for that product, you will need to move additional products in the market, obviously, to get your profitability up. So there's this is just my opinion, Norm. You're willing to obviously chime in on you, but I would take that product and use it as an opportunity to grow your brand. I wouldn't, if you're getting sales on it and you know that raising the prices is going to get your profitability up, but not maybe above the 12, I would use it as an opportunity to move you into the second, tier 2, tier 3, mid to high level products and take a different approach to it by launching additional products.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is if you can take a look at any of the reviews or from your competitors' reviews, and if you can do any form of product innovation or
Brand
increase
segmentation or
yeah,
avatar
yeah, yeah.
segmentation. Exactly. Yeah.
That might be something I would look at too. So it's not necessarily a dead product. It just, and like you were saying earlier on too, if you can do something to bring that up to the next tier and still drive traffic, it just might
Yeah,
be in
that's
the
a
wrong
valid.
tier.
That reminds me of something, Norm. So let me give you a quick.
Okay.
They use it for the social media calendar. They use it for interacting with their family and friends. And then there are some of us who use it 80% of the time for business reasons. Mostly, it's about communications, the business itself, etc. We're using the same device, but two different avatars. Two different avatars doing two different aspects of business. One's higher perceived value, one's lower perceived, one's utility, one's a business justifier. If you look at your product and whatever it is, and you can raise an avatar or change an avatar level to take the perception of your product from its current base to a slightly different variation of a base with a higher perceived value just by shifting that product conversation. It could be the same product with a totally different avatar approach. And that you could totally unlock a whole different level of sales with it.
All right, Kels.
Okay, it is 1:06. I know we do have a cutoff time today, so
let's take one more question.
All right, one more call.
One more question.
I'll try to stay online if I can.
All right, from Claudia, when do you know you should start raising your prices? What is your criteria? Also, how much percentage and how fast should you raise them by?
Yeah, that's a subjective question because the variables are going to be dependent upon you, your brand, the product, and a lot of other variables. The broad answer would be to know when maybe time of year or value of that product versus the market as you see them, slightly raising your price to kind of see where you are based on your competition. You may initially lower your product price at market in order to get some competition traction, but then you should initially raise your product up to at least market standard and then slightly test that product price point up. And that could be, again, it's a variable. I don't know your specific answer, but anywhere from 50 cents to $1.50, not a lot. But small segments in the movement, watch and wait for 3 days minimum. See if that was received properly. If sales don't go down, but potentially they go up or even they stay the same, you might raise it another 50 cents to $1.50 roughly. It's just small, minute changes. You're letting the algo take that into consideration. You're letting the traffic curate across your unit session percentage and your competition. Do not make more than, do not make more than a 10 or 20% change at any one time. You may find yourself falling out. The algo may penalize you for that big of a change, and then you're going to be in trouble.
Okay. There is one other question here. It's a short one.
Go right ahead.
I saw it. Where was it? Somebody was asking about, right here, about how many
businesses.
Yeah, how many businesses? Where is that, Kels? I can't find it now.
In the last 10
how
years,
many Amazon businesses have you had?
I have owned 8 in the last 10 years. I sold the majority of them off to my partner about 2 years ago, so I could focus on business and diversification of our company called Voltage Holdings. Voltage Holdings now owns interest in a software company. We own interest in multiple other brands and joint ventures with U.S. manufacturing. We now own interest in a mobile trailer solar division called OneSunrise.com. So because of my entrepreneurial brain, I have now diversified our holdings and profits and moved into other areas of business. And my partner for the last 10 years now manages those companies that I previously was owned in. We're actually starting a new brand again right now that will be ownership in. So we just continue to diversify our profits and funds into more products and more e-com.
Very good. All right, Kels. Well, let me see. Before we get to the Wheel of Kelsey, I think we have one last word from our sponsor, and then we'll come back.
All right, here we go.
Meet Sellerize, our favorite suite of tools for Amazon sellers. Leverage 19 innovative tools to dominate your competition on Amazon. Get your customer reviews, rank higher, track and analyze profit in real time. Sellerize is what you need to make data-driven decisions and give your business a boost. Get a free month trial by signing up with a coupon, Beard Nation. Follow the link in this episode's description and get started now. Okay, so Neil, you've never seen or experienced the Wheel of Kelsey, have you?
I've not. I'm a Wheel of Kelsey newbie.
All right,
right.
Kels.
Well, buckle up. Here we go.
Here we go.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right.
All right, here we go. Here is our Wheel of Kelsey.
I think this is a great price today. 45 minutes with Neil. Man.
Dude, I
Yeah.
love this. This is great. I have not seen this.
Absolutely. So here we'll shuffle these up. So if you are the winner, please email me k@lunchwithnorm.com and I will connect you. And let's see who the winner is today. And it looks like it's Mike.
Mike. Oh,
Right on, Mike. Looking forward
Congrats,
to
Mike.
that, buddy.
I told you, Kelsey, to rig the wheel so it would land on us.
Yeah, right. Where do
want
I
the
get my
45
free session?
minutes. Yeah. All right, Neil. Well, Kelsey will get you the information after the show, but thanks a lot for coming on. I know that we've been kind of going back and forth. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Enjoy
And
it.
by the way, people want to get a hold of you. How do they get a hold of you?
Well, speaking of podcasts, you can go check out the High Voltage Business Builders podcast on all the major platforms and go over to voltagedm.com, voltagedm for digitalmarketing.com. Check out what we're doing over there, or just Google TWA. There's not many of me. I encourage you. It'll be me and the airline, and you'll find me one of those ways. Follow me on social media, and we'll connect one of these days.
All right. Super. Thank you, Neil, for coming on, and
My
hopefully
honor.
you can come on fairly soon.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate you.
All right. See you later. Okay, Kelsey, where are you?
All right, I'm just about to post Neil's link here.
Okay,
So
while you're doing that,
check
on
it out.
Friday, we're going to be joined by a first-time guest, Michelle Covey, and we're going to be discussing what you need to know before launching a product-based business. So it's going to be perfect. We just had Neil on, and now we're going to get Michelle's views on this, and I think it'll be a great show. So next, Kels.
All right. So if you haven't already, please give us those thumbs up, smash those like buttons, as we like to say. And if you're watching from YouTube, if you hit that big red button down below and subscribe to the channel, that would be great.
And
if you're
ring a bell.
Ring the bell, yes, to get
See,
notified.
I'm getting
You are
good.
catching on. You know,
I'm getting good at it.
2.5 years in, and you know you're getting it. It's a proud
And
day.
check out Kelsey's Talk Tick channel. Is that right?
Yep. People love the Talk Tick. It's Lunch with Norm on TikTok if you want to check it out. And yeah, let me know if what you guys think about that. Also, we didn't get to all the questions today, so if you had extra questions, if you have questions for Neil or Norm, our community is great. I'm sure someone can round up an answer for you. Check out Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce collective Facebook group. That's where all the fun happens too. If you just want to connect with the community, that's where you can go. And if you're looking for private guest lessons, Q&A sessions with me and Norm, you can go over to our membership program. This is a private membership. That's on the Lunch with Norm website. Just click on the membership button and you'll be all set. So I think that's it. And yeah.
Okay. So join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of the community. We could not do this without you. And we will see you on Friday. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Lunch with Norm.